There it is. So, recording my screen. And I've got closed captioning on. If that annoys anybody, certainly let me know. What else do I need to do here? Present now. Present now! Chrome tab. Better for sound. There we go. So you can see our agenda. Is that correct? Oh, here it is. Here it is. There you go. First thing I want to share with you is, on the one hand, I want to apologize for not better communicating with you, that I was not going to be here on Friday, but I had sent an email. I vocalized it during class, and I included it at the bottom of our agenda for day 2 or day 1. So if you go back to day 1, and suddenly my computer is slow, which is unfortunate. Boy. So down at the bottom, day 1, don't forget there was no homework for that class, day 1. But also remember, our Friday class will not have a synchronous Google Meet face-to-face component for it. So the lesson posted for Friday can be done by you at any time. And by any time, my intent, what I meant by that was before today, anytime before today. Some people are behind and have not done that work yet. And so that is something that you want to make sure that you do if you have not done it yet. And so looking at today's agenda, I address that matter with you and re-include what the directions were. So there was an assignment provided on Friday, and I'm going to give you to the end of the week to get that thing done, those items done. So I want to see your responses to the things you carry. Attendance, in terms of attendance, certainly, you want to try to be at as many of the face-to-face meetings as you possibly can. I also recognize that things come up, and some of those things are just, the unfortunate circumstances of life. Someone's grandfather has passed away, and so they're not going to be able to be in my G4 class. We've got, we're dealing with dentist appointments as we typically would. So as those things happen, it's a good idea to constantly, to be in communication with your teachers. Keep communication lines open, more so now than ever. But it's always a good idea to keep lines of communication open. My son, as a junior, is taking a class at Andrews University. And there was an error with his schedule. And so he had signed up for a class, but never got any information on that class. And it turns out somebody screwed up his registration. And so he attended the first class after at least making sure that he was registered for the class, and received materials that he needed to receive. Went to the bookstore and they did not have his book on hand. So now they have to order his book. Well, he's got an assignment that's due on Wednesday. And so rather than just go, oh, I don't have a book, I can't do that assignment, he contacted the professor and is trying to find out what he needs to do under these circumstances. More and more, as you proceed through your education, it is vital that you keep lines of communication open between you and the classes that you're taking, the teachers that you have. So keep that in mind, please. And you will find, under all the different circumstances that can occur, I'm on your side more often than not, unless you've been just an idiot about things. And even, under those circumstances, I'll say that this was a pretty dumb move on your part. And 99% of the time, the student will recognize that they made a bad choice. Don't forget that I'm not only am I a teacher, but I'm also a parent, and I'm trying to help you as I would my own kids. And I'm trying to provide the grace to you that I hope my own children receive from their teachers. I'm trying to be the teacher that I want my kids to have. Okay, so please don't forget that. So that was a lot of that bit of business. Hold on a minute. I need to show you something. So last time I said that we didn't have a book, and it was my understanding that we didn't have a book because I didn't think that there would be any way that we would have enough books for you to receive. However, it turns out our bookstore had books, and the bookstore lady, and it was in between my two gold classes. Bookstore lady said, "Mr. Coffey, would you like to be able to distribute those books?" And I said, "Would I?" So that you have a physical book in your hands rather than having to read PDFs. So this is the book that you want to make sure that you get a copy of. Book pickup continues tonight, and I think it continues tomorrow. Can anyone confirm that for me? Do any of you know off the top of your head? I can Google. I mean, I can look in my email right now. But if anybody knows off the top of your head, that would be useful. All right, let me look. Book pick up. Where's that info? There it is. So for 11th and 12th grade, tonight from 2:15 until 6 o'clock, and then again tomorrow from 2:15 to 6 o'clock. And you enter through door A, and they kind of filter you in, if you haven't been yet, into the IMC. And it's my understanding that Mr. Gallagher made an announcement on the very first day of school that the line takes about 20 minutes. I don't know if any of you can confirm or deny that. No, Kaylee, did it take longer? Yeah? How much longer?
Took like an hour for me.
Took an hour for you? Oh, okay.
And then it took half an hour just to pick up the books.
I was there for like an hour and 30 minutes.
Okay, so it is like waiting in line for Space Mountain. Okay. All right. So, although if you're here early, that might work. That may not work for you. How many of you guys drive? Do any of you drive yet? No, nobody's driving yet? It is early. So, yeah. Okay. So you probably got
I went on Saturday, so it was probably way more busy than it would be if you went like.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Were you able to get a book, Kaylee? Yeah? Okay. Somebody indicated that they had trouble. Was it somebody in here? No. Yeah, somebody indicated that they were told, no, there is no book for Mr. Coffey's English 11 class. So there was clearly a miscommunication there. So looking at the agenda, there was an assignment provided Friday. Many of you have responded to it. If you did a Flipgrid video, I'm incredibly proud of your bravery. I know that may have been a challenge for some of you who did that. And ultimately, if you did the Google Doc, I provided the Google Doc option, not necessarily because of an anticipation that the Flipgrid would be difficult, but I recognize that you might have trouble doing it or figuring out how to do it, and so I wanted to give you an alternative way to approach the task. And some of you prefer to speak than to write. How many of you do like to write? Does anybody like to write? I'm only looking at a handful of people, though, of faces. Do any of you like to write? I know when I was a junior, I did not. Zane, kind of? Depends. Is it more creative for you that you would prefer?
Yeah, just kind of here and there, sporadic.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, and we're going to be doing a lot of, short bursts of writing here and there to kind of get you some experience with the commentary, the kinds of commentary that I'll give. Um, I'm a little bit behind. I will confess that when we dropped our daughter off this weekend, I decided to focus solely on my daughter and my wife, and I had I want to say over 100 emails when I came back Monday morning. We got back late on Sunday, and so now that I'm caught up with that, I'm beginning to be able to catch up with the work that I ask my students to do. So I'll be giving you feedback, hopefully on the videos. I'm not sure if I can actually speak to your video or if I have to give feedback in a different way. But certainly those of you who provided writing will be taking a look at that. So our agenda for today, I want you to remember that our theme is identity. And what I'd like for you to do for me right now is create a Google Doc, share it with me, notify me that you've shared that Google Doc with me, and put your name and today's date on it, even though your name will be associated with it. It's good practice, ultimately, to make sure that your name is on stuff that you're turning in. Share that Google Doc with me, and then there are 3 questions that I would like you to answer for me. I'm going to give you about 5 minutes to think about and create your written response to each of those 3 questions. It is currently 9:55 by my classroom computer. And so that means at 10:10, 5, 10, 15, at 10:10, we'll reconvene. But go ahead and you can shut off your camera if you want to shut off your camera, but create that Google Doc, share it with me, and answer those 3 questions in Roman numeral 1. How does who we are define where we are going? How do we go about figuring out who we are if we're not sure? How do we get anywhere, and that's number 3, if we do not know who we are? So, struggle with those. You can number them, or if you can figure out a way to kind of put them all together, you can do that as well. But about 15 minutes, 5 minutes per question, and I'll give you a 5-minute update at each turn. So if you've got questions while you're writing, go ahead and throw those into the chat. So that's the first 5 minutes. That's 10 minutes in. We've got about 5 minutes left. I'm restarting recording. I had paused it, realized we didn't need 15 minutes of silence. So what I would like to do now is hear a little bit about what you wrote. You will find that a lot of the time I'm tasking you with writing. I'm asking you to write something, so that you have an opportunity to kind of formulate your thoughts before speaking. I find frequently that I'm able to communicate my ideas better once I've written them down. Which you may be able to tell because here I am kind of, stumbling over words as I'm, expected to talk into a camera. That can be a struggle, which some of you may have found if you tried doing the Flipgrid video. So what I'd like to do is hear from some of you, especially if you've got good sound. If you know that turning on your microphone is going to cause you some sort of problem here, and cause you to lose connection, then by all means, I'm not expecting everyone to necessarily speak, but I'd like to hear some of the things that you wrote down. So does anybody want to tackle any one of those three questions in particular? Do you want to start with number one? How do we define where we are? How does who we are define where we're going? Who wants to be brave?
Maybe we all have certain goals that we want to accomplish in the future. Does that make any sense?
How does that connect to who you are?
Because maybe you're the type of person who wants to be, a doctor or a firefighter, and you have a calling to go to a certain place in order to accomplish that goal.
So there you go, the sense of the calling, right?
Yes.
So there's something about something that you've done, and where does that calling tend to come from? Does anybody have any thoughts on that? Where does the feeling that you have a calling, where does that come from? Like Wandita has her own business, right? Am I remembering that correctly? So how does that translate? Well, so tell me, Ty, what is your calling? What is it that you wanted to do, or that you want to do?
Well, I want to become an actor, and in order for me to do that, I'm going to have to participate in more theater activities. And the place that I want to go right now, well, when I graduate high school, is IU Bloomington, because I hear that they have a lot of good theater arts there.
Mm-hmm. Good. Other thoughts about who?
For me,
Well, anybody. How does who we are define where we're going? Or somebody just tell me, what something that you wrote. Somebody give me a sentence or two. And I know I'm going to read them all, but so Hayden, how is your sound?
Hello? Can you hear me?
I can. Can you share with us something that you wrote?
I said the way, like, it all matters about, like, how determined you are to, to achieve your goal. That's all that really matters.
Good. I like that. The importance of determination. How many of you? How many of you did have trouble with this? And let me see if I've got the right attachment here. I should have an extension that allows you to raise your hand. Have you seen that in other teachers' stuff?
I think that's just Zoom.
No, it's actually here, believe it or not. But I cannot. Let's see here. I'm looking for it. I'm going to look for it. Huh. Oh, you know what? I think I know. I might know where it is. Come on. Wake up. There we go. Maybe it's there. Boo. Yeah, I can't seem to find it quickly. Not quickly, anyway. Not conveniently. So my question for you is, how many of you do know? How many of you do know what you want to do? If you know what you want to do, go ahead and type me into the chat. Kaylee, that was a pretty adamant no way. Okay, so here's where the story time comes in here. All right, but actually before that, so we heard from Ty. Zane, what do you want to do?
I'm looking into being like a chemical engineer.
Okay, and what? Where is that coming from? Do you have a sense of where that comes from? You enjoy chemistry, I would guess, right?
Yeah, so I think that sort of that kind of calling is it's something that I've always been really fascinated with.
Mm-hmm.
And like, so even in my free time, I'll watch like documentaries and stuff.
Oh,
about
okay.
chemistry. And I think just that enjoyment and that, like, you know, all the facts that, like, you know, there's lots of jobs open for it, and
Okay.
it feels to me like it'll be something fulfilling for me to do.
So do you know, like, with chemical engineering, what then? So like, you get a degree in chemical engineering. What do you want to do with that?
Well, I want to get a job that potentially can help people or something like that, you know, and even potentially like the job itself it's most chemical engineering jobs are well paying, and with that money, I think I can give it to charity and people who really need it.
Oh, okay. I mean, is there a specific kind of thing that you'd like to work on in terms of improving people's lives? Like, are you looking? Are you a fuel alternative guy, or, you know, different ways that we might begin to utilize the recycling of plastics and that sort of thing? Like, I recently read about how they're using recycled plastics in such a way that the repaving of roads will result in no waste of the former road. So they can use all of, you know, kind of when they're grinding up the road, and then combining that old ground up road with the new recycled plastics in order to create brand new roads. And they're doing that like around.
Really fascinating to me. That might be something that I potentially could work in.
Okay. All right. Good. Hayden, how about you? What is it that you want to do?
I want to go to trucking school and get my Class A CDL. Then I'm going to be a lineman.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, man, that would freak me out. That is something that I know But I only know now as an adult that that is something that I would not be able to do. And part of the reason why is I don't enjoy driving. Even though, for instance, I just had to drive to Pittsburgh and drive back home. But if any of you are familiar with the city of Pittsburgh, it's also the city of bridges. And when I arrive on a bridge in my vehicle, I tense up so bad, and I can't imagine how bad I would be if I were driving a truck. That would be scary, intimidating to me. And driving through mountains freaks me out as well. Not many of you are driving yet, but so yeah, and not that I want you to freak out about driving or anything like that either. But wow, that's a braver thing that I could possibly imagine. Aaron, how about you? What is it that you want to do?
I want to work in construction.
Yeah, what kind? Do you like houses, building, like big buildings?
Roofing.
Roofing.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have family in roofing?
Yeah, my grandpa was and my aunt is.
Oh, that's awesome. Do they work for a company or are they independent?
They work for a company. I forgot what it's called. I just know that it's like a big company and it pays well. So.
Sure. So, in terms of like materials, do you have any idea what you would prefer to do with that? Like what kind of materials you'd like to work with?
I would guess like whatever like roofs are made out of. I guess I don't really know.
Okay.
So.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you got plenty of time to figure that out. Are you in our construction class, or were you hoping to be in that? Yeah. How is that working out right now?
So far, really good.
Yeah. So are you guys are you building a house this year?
Oh yeah, we are.
Are you? Okay. So you're able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's good news. And so Catherine, how about you?
I want to be a teacher or just like something that helps other people out.
What kind of teacher would you like to be?
Elementary.
Elementary. What would the other thing be? Do you have any idea? Like,
I don't know.
would you have any interest in nursing?
No.
No. Okay. All right. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to do that either. I would not be able to handle blood, or giving shots or anything like that. So yeah, I wouldn't be able to be like a doctor. But there are therapy positions as well, where you don't have to do that kind of thing. So, in terms of thinking about this, I will tell you right now, when I was a junior in high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do. When I was a senior in high school, I had a plan. But that plan did not involve teaching high school English. When I graduated from college with a degree in English, I was not sure that becoming a high school teacher of English was what I wanted to do. And now here I am. I've been teaching high school English for 24 years. And is this still what I want to be doing? Or, are there other things that I want to do? And I'm not, there are times when I'm not sure that I'm doing exactly what I'm meant to be doing and wonder, is there something else I should be doing? So my story is, it's about my two older children. And actually, I could tell you stories about all three of them for that matter. My oldest, for the longest time, wanted to go to culinary school. She enjoyed working in the kitchen with me, and just at our house. I don't work in a kitchen, and making meals, and so she enjoyed doing that creation kind of element. And after taking a culinary class, and so this is an important element in your figuring out what you want to do. and who you want to be, she realized that no, she did not want to go to culinary school at all. And she made that discovery as probably as a junior in high school. So I think she was about your age when she kind of had this realization that no, that's not really what I want to do after all. And so we started exploring other things. So we talked a lot, and that's something that is available for all of you through the open office hours. If you ever want to talk about all these different things that might be going on in your head, feel free to visit those office hours. And now she's studying screenwriting. She likes movies, and she feels that women need to be able to tell their stories. And so she wants to tell stories. And one of the best ways to do that and have an audience is by becoming a screenwriter, in her opinion. And so we looked for opportunities to get her a little bit of background, a little taste of that. And we took advantage of those kinds of things where we could. And that's what she's planning to study now. My son has no idea what he wants to do, like many of you, but there are activities that he's involved in. He's involved in the stage crew at his school. And this summer, he and I discovered that he enjoys, kind of working with his hands. And so there's work to be made, work to be had in, combining those two. So it might be, some element of construction. For the longest time, he was talking about engineering, but engineering is so broad, from chemical engineering to, not necessarily biological, genetic engineering, all sorts of different kinds of engineering, mechanical, in terms of urban engineering, lots of different directions, electrical. And so now I'm just shouting out different kinds of engineering. But he's also has this interest in theater. And so both of my children are kind of thinking about the entertainment industry. And one of the reasons they're thinking about that is because I'm a local actor and I've got experience on stage, both professionally and non-professionally. And so there's kind of a natural interest that sort of exists there because of what they've already been exposed to. And as some of you pointed out, your familial backgrounds are kind of putting you in a direction that, where you maybe already know people. And a lot of finding a job is about knowing people. So these are good kinds of things to keep in mind. And then our third child, our youngest, our baby girl, she really wants to be a vet. But over the past, during quarantine, she has demonstrated to our family that she's an artist. She's got this incredible artistic eye. And unfortunately, her high school does not offer a lot in the ways of artistic opportunities. There aren't a lot of art classes that she's able to take. And so we're hoping to be able to afford her the opportunity to try to kind of supplement her experiences, and figure out, is the veterinary school something that she really wants to do, or is she interested in this artistic angle? Would there be a way that she could combine those two things? And so to, explore those different options. So you want to think about, who is it, what does your family do? What are the things that you are interested in? What are the things that you carry with you? And that is how you can go about kind of figuring out what you want to do. So keep in mind that, we're going to be talking about these kinds of things throughout the year. Certainly early on here, I want you to think about, a lot about who you are, what makes you up to be the person that you are. To try to, not that as a senior in high school that you're going to know exactly what it is that you want to do, but, many of you are looking at trades. And so, certainly at the beginning of your senior year, you're going to want to figure out, am I going to be applying to trade schools, or am I going to be applying to college? And how can I get experiences in the things that I hope to get experiences in, which is really hard right now because of, coronavirus, obviously. So, all right. So hopefully that eases your mind a little bit. You might talk to your folks too about, what was it that you wanted to do when you were a junior in high school? And you may find that it is not at all what it is that they're doing now. It might be a big surprise. And other surprises come along, as we learned on March 13th, or the evening of March 12th. Surprises happen, and throw a curveball. And a lot of our success depends on, whether or not we can, to extend the baseball metaphor, is our ability to stay in the box when the curveball is being thrown and hit the ball. Can you make contact with the ball? We want to be able to stay in the box. And I'm going to try to help you hit those curveballs. So looking at Roman numeral 4 there, okay? Got a bit of a paragraph here. On that same document that you shared with me, okay, I would like for you to add a little bit more, and that's going to be number 4 under Roman numeral 4. So grab that doc that you just shared with me, and on that, I want you to add to it in paragraph form these questions. I just told you about a story that hopefully will help you go about answering the questions of, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? What have you started in order to get there? What do you want to be? Who do you want to be? And I know most of you are saying you're not sure. And so you're not necessarily going to be able to answer all of these questions. It might be a series of possible answers for the what do you want to do? Well, I'm interested in this. And so go ahead and allow it to be a stream of consciousness. But on the paper, go ahead and number it 4 that you're going to share with me. And who is it that I need to talk to? Are we all here? I need my glasses. So Kaylee Butler, I'm going to look at yours that you already gave me, and Kaylee Reinhardt. So I'll look at those that you mailed me. No, that's the new one. Boo. That's the one I want. So I'm looking at Butler first. So Kaylee Butler, those are just some ideas there of that provides you a sense of the kinds of questions that I ask. So just something to keep in mind. Ooh, there we go. Okay. Mm-hmm. No, that's not what I wanted. There it is. And Kaylee Reinhardt, I just opened the wrong one. Oh, well, there's something. All right, gang. So make sure that you have shared that document with me. Numbers 5 and 6 on our agenda, those are nothing that you have to worry about right now. Those are things that we will deal with on Thursday. Okay? So one of the things that we want to start off with is talking about why we tell stories. If you have any questions about anything, feel free to come to the open office hours this afternoon, and we'll address your questions. And as always, you're welcome to send me emails if you've got questions or concerns that show up there. All right? So it's past our time, although it's 10:40 by my laptop. You are free to go.